We are going to start our program. First of all, I call upon Mr. Muhammad Ashraf Nadawi for reciting Holy Quran.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We are going to start our program. First of all, I call upon Mr. Muhammad Ashraf Nadawi for reciting Holy Quran.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Malik yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. السلام عليكم. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali Sayyidina Maulana Muhammad. Most respected, the chief guest of and inaugurator of this open forum, Honorable Member of Parliament, N.K. Premachandra sir, guest of honors, Dr. Sebastian Paul sir, Sayyid Munawwar Ali Shihab Tangal, Muhammad Amdullah Saeed Sahab, Professor N.A.M. Abdul Qadir Sahab, Advocate V.R. Anoop sir, Ali Akbar sir, and the President of this session, Mr. Rais Ahmad Sahab Manipur, and other dignitaries and audience gathered here. First of all, I welcome you all. I warmly welcome you all to this program. All the guests and dignitaries and audience who watching this program. As you know very well, we are now gathered in an open forum on new political crisis and destruction of peace in the islands, conducted by SKSSF National Committee. As you know, SKSSF is the students' wing of SAMASTHA Kerala Jam'iyyat al-Ulama. It is representing the most peoples of Kerala Muslims. Nowadays, the Lakshadweep people, over the last few days, Lakshadweep has emerged a political flashpoint which had ripples throughout the world. As we know, Lakshadweep, the Greenly Islands, the black clouds trying to destruct the political, cultural, and peaceful atmosphere of the Lakshadweep. The people throughout the world oppose all anti-social, cultural activities of Lakshadweep administration and their attempt to undermine the island's ecological sanctity. In this scenario, in this situation, SKSSF National Committee demand the central government to ensure the dignity and honorable existence of the people of Lakshadweep and to recall the administrator and revoke the newly introduced unlawful regulations. I do not prolong my welcome address. I conclude my words. Once again, I welcome you all, especially all the guests, Honorable Member of Parliament representing Kollam, N.K. Prabhachandra sir, and previous our MP, Dr. Sebastian Paul sir, and other guests who gathered here, and all audience. I welcome you all to this wonderful open forum conducted by SKSSF National Committee. I invite and request Mr. Rais Ahmad Sahab, is the treasurer of SKS National Committee, to proceed this program. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Jazakallahu khair. Thank you so very much, Dr. Javed Sahab, convener SKSSF National Committee, for giving me this opportunity to proceed today's open discussion on new political crisis and destruction of peace in the island Lakshadweep. First of all, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. A very good afternoon and may peace be upon all of you. Before I begin, I would love to highlight a few things for the viewer of today's live streaming session of SKSSF National Committee Open Forum. You know, we all know that Lakshadweep is a group of 36 islands, is known for its exotic and sun-kissed beaches and lush green landscape. The name Lakshadweep in Malayalam and Sanskrit means 100,000 island. Lakshadweep is India's one of the smallest union territory and is consisting of 32 square kilometer. And as per 2011 census report, Lakshadweep has total population only 64,473. So now I would like to invite with a great respect our chief guest of today's open forum discussion on the topic of new political crisis and destructions of peace in the island, that is Lakshadweep, Shri N.K. Premachandran, Lok Sabha, Member of Parliament in Lok Sabha. And I would like to highlight few things about our honorable chief guest. Sir N.K. Premachandran is an Indian politician and he is presently the Member of Parliament from Kollam, Kerala Lok Sabha constituency, and he was the former Minister of Water Resources in the government of Kerala and was responsible for irrigation, groundwater development and water supply and sanitation and so on and so forth. And he has been working for the people of this country, and I'm handing over to Sir N.K. Premachandran for his inaugural speech on today's topic, new political crisis and destructions of peace in the island Lakshadweep. Sir, handing over to you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much for your invitation and the words of welcome by which I am able to have an active participation in this online seminar or a webinar regarding the recent political crisis in Lakshadweep Islands and also the disruption of peace in the islands. That is the subject matter which we are discussing. SKSSF, SAMASTHA Kerala Sunni Students Federation, one of the leading students movement in the state of Kerala. I think it is being patronized by the Muslim community in the state as a whole, not only in the state, throughout the country. And I think that this webinar is being organized on the auspicious leadership of SKSSF National Committee. So it is indeed a pleasure and privilege, as far as I am concerned, to participate in this discussion of the recent political crisis in the islands and the disruption of peace in the islands. See, I think that this issue now it has come one of the most important subject matter or topic for discussion throughout this, not only within the country, and even outside the country. It is a debating point for the national political scenario also. I think that this Lakshadweep issue, the recent political crisis which is being faced in the islands, cannot be isolated, cannot be taken or considered as an isolated issue from that of the national political situation. Because from 2014, after Sri Narendra Modi-led government, NDA-led government has assumed power in our country, we see so many legislations through the parliament and so many administrative measures taken by the government of India is with a clear-cut political motive to marginalize a section of the communities and marginalize those communities in the country and to have a particular agenda of Hindutva agenda that is being aggressively pursued throughout all these 7 years. If you examine critically, we can very well understand each of the legislations which were passed by the parliament. If you examine regarding the Kashmir issue, Citizenship Amendment Act and Triple Talaq Bill, and so many other amendment legislations, amendment to the existing legislations like UAPA, Human Rights Law Amendment, and so many other legislation with a particular aim to have the absolute power within the central government, violating all the norms of the federal characteristics of Indian Constitution. Kashmir, we all know that the beautiful land, the apex land of our country is being, the statehood character of Kashmir is absolutely lost through a constitutional amendment legislation. That too, one fine morning, Honorable Home Minister Sri Amit Shah, he is coming to the Rajya Sabha after coming and after when the House resumes, immediately he takes a piece of paper, that is a bill, and saying that we are moving a constitutional amendment bill so as to repeal Article 370, and further legislation is also being introduced so as to divide the state into 2 union territories, Jammu Kashmir territory and the Ladakh territory. And it was astonishing, as far as a constitutional student like me is concerned. It is never we have experienced in the independent.
Sir is on muted. Okay.
Most of the times we are describing all these political issues as communal issues against a particular community, but it is having clear-cut neoliberal economic policies are also being pursued on the gaze of this communal, giving a communal color and giving a communal division within the country. And if we discuss politically, this Lakshadweep issue also, if we examine it, there also the government in office is trying or attempting to color it as a communal issue, because the 99% of the population in the Lakshadweep is a particular community, that is Muslim community. So even in Kerala, BJP leadership is trying to tarnish the image of Lakshadweep and making or trying their attempt to have a division between community-wise division, not a political issue. And so my point is, it is absolutely a political issue. Because government of India, they are aggressively pursuing their economic policy so as to satisfy the needs of the corporate capitalist forces in the country, for which they are using the communal political points. They are absolutely intelligently they are using it. That is actually what has happened in Kashmir also. Now so many corporates, capitalist corporates are now eyeing in the valley of Kashmir so as to have investments and get or grab land there. So now we come to the Lakshadweep issue is also similar thing we can very well see, because after the factual situation, I think that everybody who are participating in this webinar is well aware of the factual situation, what is happening in the islands. Everybody is well aware. So I'm not going to detail explanation of all the issues which are being seen on recent days. See, after this administrator, especially this administrator is having a very good background. What is the background? This BJP and RSS background is well evident if we examine his back history. It is very evident that in the year 2007, he has become a member of Legislative Assembly of the Gujarat State Legislative Assembly. After Amit Shah in the Zorabuddin Sheikh fake encounter case, when Amit Shah was put in jail, when he resigned from the ministership, Home Ministership, Narendra Modi, the Honorable, the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, now the Prime Minister of the country, intelligently chosen this Praful Khoda Patel as the Home Minister of Gujarat State. And it is very interesting, all the 9 portfolios which were held by Sri Amit Shah were handed over to this particular person. That means he is the direct nominee, the lieutenant of the Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi. So the main question to be discussed is, all these activities and the new legislations which are being taking place in the Lakshadweep Islands, is the personal act of this particular person, or it is as per the whim and fancy of the government at the center? According to me, now we are all saying, or we are all putting up the demand that this person have to be recalled. This administrator Praful K. Patel has to be recalled. This is the demand which we are raising. Praful Khoda Patel has to be recalled. But my point is, this is not Praful K. Patel. This is the policy of the government of India. Because this island, and strategically it is very important, we all know. And this island having 99% of the Muslim community, and precious land having natural resources, and the tourism have got ample potential in this area, and so many corporate capitalist forces are eyeing their investment in these islands just like that of Kashmir. And in the name of tourism and in the name of development, they want to take, or they want to take the absolute control of Lakshadweep and the ethnic culture of that state, the ethnic culture of the territory, or the traditional customs, or all these, that there are basic people of that, indigenous people of that Lakshadweep. They are going to lose their land and even their residence. Very gradually that is going to happen. And yesterday in some discussion, one of the eminent personalities spoke in a webinar. He said that suppose if any refugee flow is coming from Lakshadweep to Kerala, we can expect just like the case of the Rohingya Muslim communities, refugees in India. So this is the thing which is happening in Lakshadweep. So it is not merely the question of the personal arrogance of a particular administrator, but it is the policy of the government of India at the center. That is why the government of India, even the Home Ministry officials and the BJP leadership at the center is totally ratifying and justifying the actions of the administrator, Praful K. Patel. It is being well ratified by the government at the center. That means the question of policy is there. This policy has to be changed. This government's actions or the administrator's actions are based on the policy pursued by the government. See, this administrator, when he was holding the charge of office of this Dadra Nagar Haveli, there also similar incidents took place because the Adivasi people who were holding, the tribal people who were holding in that territory, they were totally eliminated, they were totally evicted from that places, and that has been handed over to tourist companies so as to start tourism promotion. This is the thing happened in Dadra Nagar Haveli territory, and there even a member of parliament, Lok Sabha, who is personally known to me, is a long-term member, senior member of parliament. I think that he is well known to Sebastopol also. Mohan Delkar, member of parliament, Lok Sabha, committed suicide because of this intimidation of the particular administrator, Mr. Praful Patel. And a crime, an FIR is registered. 6 persons were accused. 6 persons were arraigned as accused in the first information report. One among them is this administrator. And a notoriously known administrator is being given charge to the Lakshadweep in the month of the last week of month of December 2020. And after taking how many reforms he did take, or how many reforms he has started in Lakshadweep. We all know the most beautiful land in the world, in the earth, most peace-loving people, fraternity, brotherhood, everything. The crime rate, if you examine the crime rate of Lakshadweep, it is the lowest in India. Even there is no people to be jailed. This is the situation. Communal harmony is there. There is no violence, nothing is there. Such a peaceful, loving land in the earth. Their peace, the peace and tranquility is being disturbed by whom? Not by the people of that locality, not by the local people, but by the administrator, by the new legislations and new orders. I'm not going to all those details. If you see, I want to just highlight 2-3 points. One is the Lakshadweep prevention of anti-social activities regulations. It is being in short form known as PASA. That is the Lakshadweep prevention of anti-social activities regulations. One of the peaceful, loving people of the territory, the crime rate as per the NCBR, the crime rate is very, very low. Communal harmony is there, peace is there, tranquility is there, everything is there. Such a peaceful land. Act like Gunda Act is being implemented by this administrator means what is his intention? All these activities, we all know all these black laws are being made. We know about MISA, POTA, and this National Investigation Act. All these are just to eliminate or just to oppose the political enemies so as to have a control over the land or have to absolute control over the government or administration. What is the necessity of implementing such a good act in the territory of Lakshadweep? There is no answer. Yesterday, the collector is justifying all these things because there are so many underworld work activities are being going on there, and so many Somalian people are there. See, what is the justification given by the district collector yesterday? It is shameful too, and it is an insult to the people of that territory, insult to the people of Lakshadweep. Really, he is insulting the people of Lakshadweep. See, another one is which you all know, the Lakshadweep Town and County Planning Revolution. That is being known as TCPR 2021. And on that basis, this Lakshadweep Development Authority Regulations or LDAR. See, by virtue of LDAR, Lakshadweep Development Authority Regulations, nowhere in the world such a law. By virtue of the provisions of this law, if any place which is being declared as a development area by the administrator, then that land can be taken without giving even a prior notice. It can be taken. There is nothing is mentioned about the compensation and the rehabilitation. whichever land within the territory of Lakshadweep can be declared as a development area, and that land can be taken by this authority. There is a Lakshadweep Development Authority is there, and if anybody opposes, that is a stringent provision, that is a draconian provision in the law. Totally it is anti-democratic, draconian. By this law, if anybody opposes the taking over or the acquisition of the land which is described as a development area, he will be imprisoned for 5 years. That is a punishment, and even penal life imprisonment, and even 5 lakhs penal fine is also there. And for every day, 25,000 rupees fine will increase if it continues. And where you can see such a draconian legislation? And there is nothing is being mentioned about this rehabilitation regarding the compensation. So what is the intention of this law? And other draconian legislations like Panchayat Regulations Amendment, Cooperative Society Regulations Amendment, and the Animal Preservation Act. Animal Preservation Act, we all know this to prevent this cow slaughtering and all these things. And the Panchayat regulations, it is very interesting to see that the Panchayat regulations, if you are having more than 2 children in your family, then you are not eligible to contest a candidate for the Jilla Panchayat. The only elected body in the Lakshadweep is Jilla Panchayat. This is the only democratically elected body in Lakshadweep in which if you are having more than 2 children, then you are ineligible to be a candidate for contesting in the particular Jilla Panchayat election. See, is it not anti-constitutional? Whether the constitution says so? If you want to make such a legislation in the country or such an order in the country, definitely the constitution of India has to be changed. The RP Act has to be changed. So an administrator unilaterally dictating laws, dictating terms and conditions. How can it be? I know that Muhammad Faisal and E.T. Muhammad Bashir, so many MPs within the parliament so many times has demanded for having legislation by taking the people into confidence. The people of Lakshadweep has no role in the legislative process. Unilaterally, the administrator can make any law. He is the sole authority of the legislative. He is having the legislative functions, administrative functions, executive functions. How this is possible? And all these like cooperative society regulations amendment, in cooperative societies also election, it is a disqualification if you are having more than 2 children, and Animal Preservation Act, and also so many other reforms. See, if we critically analyze it, we can very well see what is the Gujarat model of development. Same thing which has happened in Gujarat also. Gujarat also, the densely populated area is totally evacuated in the name of development. And if you see those areas also, there are also some communal angles also there. And now people in the name of development, their land, their house, even their employment, everything is being lost in the name of development, tourism, and then so many other development projects. So Lakshadweep, it is having natural resources. Geographically, it is a unique area. Strategically, very important area. So the government of India want to evacuate the entire population of that particular island, and that island has to be made as a tourism spot, or for having this capitalist forces, especially the corporate forces, they are eyeing, they are having an intention in those islands to have so many interests have to be protected, for which I think that definitely the ultimate motive of the administrator or the government of India is to evacuate the entire population from that area. And I think they are afraid of this community there. I think, though, I apprehend, though, may not be correct. They are afraid of these people who are residing there, and they want to have absolute control of their people there. And that is the political reason why these reforms are being implemented without taking the people into confidence. And he is the first politician to be appointed as the administrator. That is also very interesting. And till 2020, These civil officers like IAS, IPS, IFS officers, finally retired officers were appointed as the first person from the political side is appointed as the administrator is none other than this Praful K. Patel. So is it without having any long-term political agenda? Is it an innocent process by which he is being appointed? No, never. I strongly believe this is having a long-term political agenda so as to have the absolute control of the island, and they're having so many other political aims, even to have some control over the state of Kerala, by which this is being implemented or this is being pursued. This cannot be considered as innocent reforms made by a particular administrator so as to have development of the island. In the name of development, they are seeking their ultimate or ulterior motives or ulterior goals have to be achieved by means of development. This can never be allowed. This is the point which I would like to make. See, liquor ban, it is there. The cultural heritage of the people of this Lakshadweep, the ethnic culture of this tribal people, and they are not having any fundamentalist forces there. We have not seen anything so far, but such a peace-loving people, such a fraternity, living just like in the communes, and they are having with all this cooperative system is there, where they are going in the name of tourism, they are going to list the ban on liquor, and this cow slaughter ban is being implemented, and the lowest rate of crime rate in India, the Gunda Act is being implemented, and the qualification to be a candidate for an election, anti-constitutional provisions are being made in the legislation or in the regulations, and also all the farms, dairy farms are stopped, and so many other coastal living people, their huts are being removed, and they are now bringing all these milk products, Amul products are being imported from Gujarat, and all the contract workers are being terminated. Nursing staff who have demanded for the minimum wages is brutally attacked by the police, by the authorities, and all these things would goes to show that terrorizing the people of that area, and the people of that area are forced to vacate their lands for the basic minimum price and to have the absolute control of the land. See, minimum 2 child means anti-constitutional. Is there any, with that point I will conclude, is there any exponential population growth? Is there any exponential population growth in the Lakshadweep territory? No, never. I think that the statistics would goes to shows that the population growth is still at the rate of 1.7 when the national average is more than 2.7. The population strength, it has already been mentioned just now. So what is the justifiable reason? Yesterday also the district collector who wants to justify and ratify the actions taken by the administrator totally failed, and it was an insult to the people of that area. And the most draconian provision or the most draconian law made in the territory, made in the islands, once again I would like to stress it, is the Land Development Authority regulations. That is one of the draconian regulations by which the birthright of the people to stay in their homeland, the birthright of the people to stay, live, reside in their homeland is being taken away by these legislations, regulations, and administrative orders. So we have to politically oppose it, and it is having so many other dimensions also. I'm not going to other dimensions. This is absolutely a political move by the government of India at the center, with a clear-cut political motive to have the absolute control of this territory, union territory, just like that of Kashmir, what we have witnessed. So this has to be politically opposed in all means. All the democratic, all the secular forces have to come together to fight out this anti-people, anti-democratic, draconian legislations have to be withdrawn, and he has to be called back, and further all these reforms have to be stopped, and the peace-loving lands, peace and tranquility have to be protected. I think that from Kerala, big reaction response has already come. Today we have met the United Democratic Front, UDF. We had a state level meeting today. We have given our symbolic protest today, and also we have decided to send a delegation of United Democratic Front MPs delegation. We are trying to go to Lakshadweep to have the first-hand information from the people directly contacting with them. We don't know that permission will be granted. Anyway, we are trying to send a delegation to Lakshadweep to have the first-hand information. With these words, I'm very fortunate, and I'm very happy that in this issue that is being organized by SKSSF National Committee to have a deliberation on this issue. All very most eminent personalities are there. So I think that it is indeed a pleasure and privilege as far as I'm concerned. With your all permission, I declare that this webinar on recent political crisis in Lakshadweep and the disruption of peace in the land, I declare that this webinar is being inaugurated, and also I declare my full solidarity with the people of Lakshadweep Islands. They are fighting for their democratic, genuine causes. I also declaring my full solidarity to the people of Lakshadweep. With these words, I conclude. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, sir, for your insightful inaugural speech on this particular topic, new political crisis and destruction of peace in the island Lakshadweep. And you have given so much of insightful what is the current political scenario in the island, which is really alarming, which is really our federal structure of Indian constitution is being attacked. So thank you so very much for your insightful speech. And next we have our guest of honor, who is none other than Sir Mr. Sebastian Paul, ex-member of parliament and representing Ernakulam in the 14th Lok Sabha election. And he was a member of standing committee for the Ministry of External Affairs, then a consultative committee for the Ministry of Railways, and committee of Privilege and the Press Council of India. Sir, we are giving you 10 minutes of today's discussion because we have so many speakers later on, and we have to wind up this our session by 6:30. So I request and handing over to Sir Sebastian Paul, ex-MP. Handing over to you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, first of all, I thank you for inviting me to address this webinar on a very important issue, which has political as well as constitutional dimensions. I think I need not go into the details of the issues because my learned friend, Mr. Premachandran, has already detailed the pros and cons of what is happening there in Lakshadweep. Lakshadweep, as we all know, is an island of tranquility. That tranquility is now disturbed by a bunch of law or regulations or law reforms initiated by the administrator of that union territory. There is widespread demand for recalling the administrator, but I think administrator is only an instrument to implement what is dictated by the center. So our protest is mainly against, or it should be focused against the union government, because it is a union territory. The dictates are coming directly from the union, and it is the union government which should change the policy that is being implemented in Lakshadweep without any democratic process, without obtaining the consent of the people, which is very vital in a democracy. Last night, I had an opportunity to participate in a discussion on Times Now channel. Where also I raised my objection, my constitutional objection on the implementation of this draconian Gunda Act in Lakshadweep. The provisions are very draconian, and Mr. Premachandran has detailed here what is the provisions contained in this Gunda Act. Gunda Act is a Gunda law. It is a rogue law. There are so many such laws in the country, but this law, that too, it is being implemented in Lakshadweep, where crime rates are abysmally low, where the people are living in peace. What is the necessity for introducing Gunda law, Gunda Act in Lakshadweep? To my question, the BJP spokesman who participated in that discussion, Times Now discussion, he agreed with me. He agreed with me that Gunda Act is a draconian and unnecessary law in normal circumstances. But he put forward a very strange and peculiar argument that all these law reforms are being implemented in Lakshadweep to make that union territory a world-class tourist resort or tourism destination. That was this justification. And he further said that when Lakshadweep is so converted as a world-class tourism destination, tourists from all over the world will come to Lakshadweep, and there will be so much unnecessary, undesirable things will happen there. He said without any shame that there will be prostitution, and there will be other anti-social and immoral activities. There will be many more things will happen there. We are waiting to happen in Lakshadweep. So in order to prevent all those things, as an anticipatory measure, we are introducing Gunda Act in Lakshadweep. That was his explanation. Never in my life I had heard a more ridiculous or absurd argument put forward by a person in defense of implementation of a law. That means they have nothing to say. They have no explanation or justification which will convince the critics. So that is what is happening there. It is, all these measures remind us of the steps taken by Hitler against Jews in Europe. He was also saying so many things. And what was his intention? He was separating Jews to ghettos. And ultimately, he wanted a Europe without Jews, without Jewish presence. So he wanted elimination of Jewish presence in Europe, not only in Germany, but in other occupied countries also. Here also, Mr. Premachandran has mentioned about it. We cannot say in more details about such things. Here also, what is the ultimate intention? Ultimate intention is to locate the present population in Lakshadweep to any particular place, perhaps in some area in mainland. And they want this extremely beautiful and fantastic place devoid of its original people. And they want this land to be presented to those people, their cronies, for real estate business or tourism business or for anything else. The intention is bad. And I am, apart from all these things, I am greatly disturbed by the constitutional implications of things that is they are trying to enforce or implement in Lakshadweep. They are encroaching or they are illegally entering the kitchen as well as the bedroom. They are determining the menu of the people. That is, I said, they are intruding into your kitchen. Beef is not permitted. It is prohibited, forbidden item. But beer is allowed. Their new liquor policy will permit sale of beer in the island. Beer without beef. That is their slogan or their policy. And as far as your bedroom is concerned, they are interfering with the sacred activity of procreation. They say that no third child is permitted. If you have got a third child, a valuable democratic right, you will be deprived of a valuable democratic right of contesting an election in Lakshadweep. What is the sanction for all these things? What is the sanction? Who permits you to say so many things like this? That is the problem there. A Dracula in the guise of an administrator is implementing draconian laws. It cannot be permitted. Certain things are there which is beyond the power authority of the government, irrespective of their majority, about how much majority they are enjoying in parliament. So this is a thing. They say they have nothing. Even the BJP leadership in Lakshadweep finds it difficult to justify all these things. They are deserting their party. Elsewhere also, there is nobody, no BJP spokesperson is coming with a convincing explanation or justification. They can't do it. They are doing things with an ulterior motive. We all know what is their motive. And they say all these things are being done for the good of the people. This is their explanation with regard to the farmers' agitation also, the farm laws. They say, even the Prime Minister said, this is good for the farmers, but the farmers do not understand it. The administrator and the collector says all these things are good for the people of Lakshadweep. But the people of Lakshadweep, the innocent people, they do not understand what is good for them. Is this the way things have to be done? We have to fight it. We have to resist it. Fortunately, the political parties, even the state governments, are doing their best to protest these things. The chief ministers of Kerala and Tamil Nadu have come forward with their strong protest. In Kerala, the Legislative Assembly on Monday will pass a unanimous resolution condemning these things and urging the union government to rein in the erring administrator. The parties, irrespective of political divisions, all people are protesting. It is a good thing. It is a good omen. We have to protest. I am most worried about the anti-democratic, unconstitutional steps that are being taken in Lakshadweep. People's right to protest. Lakshadweep may be a union territory. A union territory does not mean that it is the exclusive province of the union government or the party which is in power at the center. Union territory is also as good as a state. The Indian Constitution is applicable there also. Constitution is applicable means Constitution guarantees certain fundamental rights and freedoms to the people, not only to the people of the states, but to the people of the union territories also. Mr. Premendran has explained the provisions of the Gunda Act. Let us see what is awaiting for the protesters. If you protest, if you are a dissenter, if you raise slogans against the government or the administration.
Sir, please shorten the speech so that we can.
Yes, I am stopping. I am stopping.
Thank you.
I'm concluded. If a particular time is stipulated, you should inform me earlier. Interrupting a speech.
Sorry for that, sir. We have some other speakers.
Interrupting a speech is not a good thing.
Sorry for the inconvenience.
So in protest, I am stopping.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so very much, sir, for your very important topic, which is really highlighting for all of us, because as a country's citizen in like India, we have democracy. There should be at least a decent kind of like there should be at least strong dissent, so that we can have, if something is happening which is not for us, this is against the people's will, and we should always raise our voice so that we can have and we can get the right of the people. So now we have next speaker, guest of honor, respected Sir Syed Munawar Ali Shihab Thangal, President, Muslim Youth League National Committee, and he has been actively participating all political and social activism since long in Kerala and elsewhere. So now I am handing over to Syed Munawar Ali Shihab Thangal for today's new political crisis and destruction of peace in the islands of Lakshadweep. Handing over to you, Sir Syed Munawar Ali Shihab Thangal.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening to all of you. And I am very honored to be a participant in this renowned webinar. Such a wonderful personalities are participating, and Mr. Premachandran MP and renowned scholar Sebastian Paul, both of them had drawn a very great picture of the present situation and the political strategy of the BJP government on Lakshadweep issue. I am just underlining those points because Lakshadweep is a place where people are living very peacefully, where even our people from Kerala often visit Lakshadweep as it is a neighboring state. It is one of the union territories of our country, and a very beautiful place, one of the big tourist attractions around the world. Even I personally visit there, and I was amazed by the hospitality of the people and the beauty of the island. And we also experienced the friendship of Lakshadweep brothers, because when we study in Kerala, there are many students, they come to Kerala to study. So even I have many friends, brothers who are from Lakshadweep, and we get to know the culture of Lakshadweep when we are student, and we share a lot of things together. Kerala and Lakshadweep people share many things together. The language, Malayalam, is one of the common language we use, and the culture, the food, the tradition, everything what we share is the same. Now, what happened, what happening to our brothers is also our concern. We concern about the people of Lakshadweep. We are not against any kind of development. Only we urge every government that there should be a development in all sectors. But ruining the existence of people of such premise, it is very unfair. We cannot tolerate that. It is an intolerance to the people of those that place where they were living for centuries. They were not harming anyone, and the place where there is no crime, there is no harm, there is no disturbance for any other people, and such laws are implemented, like PASA Act is implemented, Gunda Act is implemented. The Gunda Act is implemented. It is a place, where there are people who are making troubles, for the Gunda people who make terror attacks, and there is not even a single case was reported from Lakshadweep, and the Gunda Act was implemented there. And the banning of the beating of beef and cattle. What is the reason? We cannot see any reasoning there, because in every South Indian state we enjoy, we have the freedom of food, and most of the people who lives in Lakshadweep are Muslims, and there is their culture eating the non-vegetarians, their habit, and there are many people who live with that kind of business. And banning the beef, banning the cattle, and banning the transformation, the transport of transport of the cattle and beef also banned. So this is a very injustice to the people of Lakshadweep. And also the destruction of fishing infrastructure. It is one of the most dangerous thing, that is a cruel thing that they are doing to them, because their income, most of the people are fishers, so they have to fish, they have to do fishing and get their they have to find their daily lives by selling these fishes, and they are processing a lot of fish. The sardine fish are very famous. It is one of the most attractive of Lakshadweep, and it is exported to the different parts of the world. And these are the things that they are doing, and they are having their safe, they are comfortable, and most of the people are they're employed, by the leadership of PM Said Saib, who took initiative to strengthen and uplift the rights of the Lakshadweep people, and many of them that they have brought under the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, which they were considered to get jobs as a reservation. And it is a, though they live in islands, they're very well off. And today also we see a lot of bad news. The collector come and says that this development, this act, it is for good for Lakshadweep. And what we are seeing, the good things for Lakshadweep, it is already there. To make a development, they don't have to make any changes in the law. They can do it by existing these laws. There's no problem. They can bring tourism, but that you can customize it. Let people live there. Let people have the right there. Then they can also have, the bringing the tourism is not bringing the alcoholic culture, the non moral culture is not that. It is not only tourism. Now, they have made the liquor available every islands. This also they cannot even think of it. The people of Lakshadweep is not it is not their habit. They all have the concern. So we strongly condemn, as a servant of Indian Union Muslim League Party and Muslim Youth League State President. Today we had a national-wide protest inaugurated by Said Haider Ali Shihab Tangal in front of the passport office in Malappuram. I'm just coming from there. So national-wide protest is a must. As Dr. Sebastian Paul said, it is not the act of the administrator. It is he represented the government. The government is trying to do. The government is trying to do their implement this kind of black laws, this injustice to them. So we have to raise our voice, and we should pray that they will step back and rethink to amend this law and bring peace to the people of Lakshadweep. And I personally, and on behalf of our party, extend our solidarity to the people of Lakshadweep, and I wish them that we will. I want to say that we all are with the people of Lakshadweep. If anything happen, we are there for you, for any kind of support. We are there as a brother, and I wish all the best the organizers who had beautifully organized this webinar. I thank Jabir Udavi and other organizers for inviting me. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so very much, and you have only use 9 minutes, which is really appreciate, and really giving so much of like live experience with Lakshadweep people, who is right now kind of alarming with some unexpected and unwanted laws which is already imposed by the new administrator. And we have to be decent on this, and we would give so much of like support and so much of like solidarity to the people of Lakshadweep. Now we have another guest of honor speaker. He is none other than our very profound Professor Dr. N.A.M. Abdul Khadir, former Dean, Calicut University Center, Lakshadweep, who is going to give insight of today's open forum, new political crisis and destruction of peace in the island, Lakshadweep. Thank you so very much. And now I'm handing over to Sir Abdul Khadir Sahab.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Dear friends, I am here with you in this fine morning, in this fine evening, to have a few words on the present crisis in the islands, and I find it as a proud privilege and honor to be with you on this occasion to stamp our solidarity with the people of the Lakshadweep who are fighting for their own existence and for a honorable living there. And we know all the details, what is going on there in these days, because now the widespread discussions are going on in all platforms of social media and visual media and print media and everything. And the developments which are going on there is not unknown to anybody on these days. Apart from that, our distinguished guest, Mr. Ramachandran MP, has made an elaborate discourse on the political aspects of the crisis going on. in the islands. And Dr. Sebastian Paul has also elaborated on the constitutional side, the legal and constitutional side of the issue in his presentation. I think he should have given some more time to conclude his speech, because he is not only an XMC but a legal expert who has taken his doctorate degree in constitutional and legal studies. Such a dignitary should have given some more time to finish and to complete whatever he has to say on this occasion. But unfortunately, anyway, it is a pleasurable occasion. But we are all sad due to these developments which is going on there in the land. And I have been associated with the islands for a few years, since a few years. At that time, the former administrators like Rahman Khan, Farooq Khan, and Dineshwar Sharma was there. There was no any problem for the Lakshadweep natives there. They were living there in pleasure and enjoying all the freedom and helping others and finding pleasure in helping others. And there are such a lot of people. They are always take pleasure in helping others. They respect the guests from all parts of the world, especially from Kerala. They will be more respect if the guests are from other communities like Hindus, Christians, or like that, better more than the Muslims. They have such a secular fabric. They nurture such a secular and patriotic elements in their heart. And we say that we see that the people of Lakshadweep always celebrate the national festivals in the same manner they are celebrating the Eid and other religious festivals also. Such a people who are deeply connected with and deeply immersed in the national stream and having a proud in their heart for the Indian land. Such a people are now branded as terrorist and anti-social elements by the authorities of the Lakshadweep. It is not. We cannot anyway in no way justify this. And our brothers before me, they have told and in detail the every aspect of the issue. And it is not the time to make an elaborate discussion. I have made an elaborate discourse of this issue on the other day in the platform SKSSF under Manisha. And now there are so many other guests also at this participating in function. So I do not want to prolong. And anyway, we should bear in mind one thing, that the people who are in charge, they say that they repeatedly proclaim that they are for the welfare of the land and the welfare of the society. Any welfare should be a sustainable type of development. The sustainable development should be for the welfare of the community and taking into account of the ecological and environmental peculiarities of a particular place. Here, what is intended is to boost the people from their own livelihood and from their own place of living and their means of livelihood. It is very tragic that their entire existence has been destabilized by these forces, by the new rules, by the new rules of LBAR and such other rules. So it is very shameful for the government to impose upon a people who are very calm, who are not indulged in any sort of terrorist or disruptive activities, imposing this type of laws, draconian laws, and upon them. And by this law, they aim that they should be intimidated, and there should not be any resistance from the side of the people, whatever they wish to do, whatever plan they wish to implement on the land. So we know full well that the people of Lakshadweep has a right to live over their homeland, just like any other person in any other land. But here they are their own existence in their own land. Their own land means the land in which they own, legally own. They can be acquired at any time without any notice or without any compensation at any time. And thereon, for living in their own land, they have to take permit every 3 years, which should be renewed by remitting a fee. And such other so many other laws which was not known to them, or which they were not accustomed to, are imposed upon them, and that is why the people of this land is in a totally unrest condition, and they are in protest. Naturally, they are in protest, and we are the people of Kerala are extending our wholehearted support for this protest, and we will be always with them and their. And we know the allegations raised against them that the narcotics has been confiscated from some ships moving through the sea, moving through the international route of the. But we know that this has no connection with the people of the land, because we can see the Times of India report in this regard. Close on the heels of the seizure of heroin and hashish from the Sri Lankan boat early this month, the Coast Guard has interrupted another Sri Lankan boat with high-grade weapons and drugs from Arabian Sea near Minicoy Island. The boat Rehan Sea with 300 kilograms of heroin worth crores in the international market and 5 AK-47 rifles along with 1,000 live rounds was intercepted on March 18 and has been taken to Vidiñam on Thursday. The Coast Guard ships and aircraft have been conducting an extensive search in the area of Lakshadweep Islands. On March 18, patrolling Coast Guard unit detected 3 suspicious boats of Minicoy Islands and interrupted them off Minicoy Island. Upon the interrogation, the crew gave inconsistent statements. On rummaging the boats, the weapons and drugs were recovered from one of the boats. The value of the drugs has been roughly estimated at 3,000 crore rupees in the international market. This is the second time anti-trafficking operations undertaken by the Coast Guard on Western Coast within a fortnight. It then says that the Coast Guard ships and in a coordinated operation in Lakshadweep seas had successfully apprehended Sri Lankan boat Agarsha Duava with 6 crew of the crew had admitted to carrying 200 kg high-grade heroin and 60 kg hashish, which was jettisoned in the sea sighting. In a similar operation, this report clearly states that these narcotics or weapons were not aimed to be deported to Lakshadweep, which it was taken to Maldives or somewhere else. So they all who has been arrested in this regard are from Sri Lanka, and they are not even Muslims. So why should they connect these sort of incidents which has happened in the international route of the sea to the innocent Lakshadweep people? We see I am residing here at the side of the national highway, and if some explosives are seized by the authorities at the national highway near my home, am I responsible for that? Am I responsible for that? So this whatever the authorities say against these innocent people are baseless, and nobody can believe that. Even the collector has presented so many allegations, baseless allegations against these people, and which cannot be admitted by anyone, any sensible person. So, but that is the reality which is going on at this place, and this issue is totally created by the Sangha Parivar for their they have some ulterior motive behind that, and this person who is named Praful Koda Patel was deputed to that island with a view to destabilize the people and to make them homeless and make the people of the land homeless, and to cultivate on that land several ambitious plans for them. And that cannot be in any way can be allowed, and we will together fight against that, and we will make them make the ultimate win, the ultimate success will be with us. And we extend all our support to the people of Lakshadweep. And that is with these very few words, I wish to conclude my speech. Thank you all.
Thank you so very much, Sir Abdul Qadir Saab, for your valuable input and insight on today's discussion, new political crisis and destructions of peace in the island. Now we have another renowned speaker for today's open forum, who is none other than our renowned advocate lawyer V.R. Anup, who is known for his social activism in Kerala and elsewhere. Now I am handing over to our advocate, respected advocate, lawyer, Sir V.R. Anup. You are still in muted, sir. You just need to unmute it. Zabir Bhai, you can do it because since you are the co-host, you can do it unmuted.
Okay.
Okay, now, sir, you are now unmuted. You can go ahead.
Good evening, all.
Good evening, sir.
I am very privileged here to be part of this program with you people. First of all, I take this opportunity to express my sincere thanks who chose this timely topic and platform. We all know that in Lakshadweep, we are very clear about what is happening in Lakshadweep. That is nothing other than undeclared war against the people of island. Almost all constitutional rights, right to religion, right to move, right to life itself, all types of constitutional rights are denied. What is the motive behind that? Of course, there may be some economic interest of Adani Group, including that interest, but we can't limit that into that economic area. The agenda is purely political Hindutva. That is working in that, no doubt. We all share a same notion. The notion is that political Hindutva is only because of Islamic terrorism. Israel is only because of Hamas. Kashmir is only because of presence of Pandits. But that myth is broken in case of Lakshadweep. We know 99% of people are Muslims in Lakshadweep. Even though that much of people are Muslims, there is no presence of even Muslim identity political parties. Still, Lakshadweep is targeted. The reason is very clear. Hindutva cannot be stand without targeting Muslims. That's a kind of racial terrorism. We have to, I think we have to stick on that. There is a way of interpreting things. The people, Lakshadweep is such a beautiful place. The people of Lakshadweep are very innocent. I think this is not a case of beauty or innocence. If even though the things are in another way, there is no right to Sangha Parivar to corrupt the people of Lakshadweep. This is not a case of innocence. This is not a case of beauty, but we have to stick on Sangha Parivar agenda. We have to again and again repeat the Hindutva genocide program of Sangha Parivar. That is that is the most important question we have to address, that we have to raise. I want to extend this speech. I take this opportunity to extend my support to the people of Lakshadweep. No doubt, we will fight together.
Thank you so much, Sir Anu, for your support and today's inputs, today's discussion in regards to Lakshadweep, who is right now political turmoil, or we have all needs to voice so that the people of Lakshadweep get justice and they can restore what it was. So our next speaker is, I don't think, Ali Akbar, who is the Youth Congress leader from Lakshadweep, who is in the group. Then you can be part of today's discussion, which is really important. And I don't think he is in the group. Jalal, can you please tell me who would be next speaker, because I don't see he is in the group. Brother Jalal, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, Abdullah Sai Saab, he's there.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Okay, the next is we have some other speaker, but unfortunately they are not able to join today's open discussion on Zoom via YouTube. Right now YouTube is live streaming, and some of the speakers, they are not able to turn up because of their personal or their some other concern. So now we have
Raise up, please call Abdullah Saib. I don't know whether he is present here or not. And Ali Akbar Sahab, I don't know here. Please call their name.
I call Ali Akbar, Youth Congress leader from Lakshadweep, but he is not in the group. And our respected Honorable ex-MP from Lakshadweep, Muhammad Hamdullah Sayyid, is also not in the group. So we have a concluding remark from Muhammad Shafi, Joint Convener, SKSSF National Committee. I'm inviting Muhammad Shafi, Joint Convener, SAMASTHA Kendra Sunni Student Federation National Committee.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. We are going to, thank you for inviting me to this session. We are going to wind up this session. Here all the panelists detailedly mentioned about how the administrator and the union government destructing the peaceful life and heritage of the people of Lakshadweep. We request all the people to unite against the draconian law, and we demand that the union government must recall the administrator of Lakshadweep. Now, here my duty is to have the vote of thanks. I do not elaborate this vote of thanks as we are approaching our prayer time. So first, on behalf of our SKSSF National Committee, I wish to express our sincere gratitude to our panelists, Mr. Premachandran MP, MK Premachandran MP, and Dr. Sebastian Paul, Said Munawar Ali Shihab Tangal, Dr. Anup VR, and Professor N.A.M. Abdul Khader for being with us and made this open forum more productive. Next, I would like to thank the organizing team especially Dr. Jabir Hudavi, Mr. Rahis Ahmed, and other members of SKSSF National Committee, and particularly our media wing and our cyber team, and all other participants and other delegates of this program. And finally, we express our solidarity and all kinds of support to the people of Lakshadweep. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so very much, Mohammed Shafi, Joint Secretary, SKSSF National Committee, a Joint Convener, sorry, for your word of thanks for today's session. And now I'm giving you some 2-3 sentences for today's really very important discussion on the Lakshadweep new development, new political crisis and destruction of peace in the island, which is really alarming. As an Indian, as a people of this country, we should always try our best to voice if something is not going in the right way. So this is a right platform because we believe on dissent in democracy. Dissent like space is too large. So that is very important, and thank you so very much for asking me, Dr. Jabir Hudvi Saab, convener of SKSSF National Committee, asking me to anchor today's auspicious or esteemed open forum discussion. And I'm right now handing over to Dr. Jabir Hudvi Saab, convener SKSSF National Committee, for winding up today's discussion.
Respected brothers and sisters, this program has been paused and stopped with the 3 salat. Sallallahu ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, ya Rabbi salli alayhi wa sallam.